Cuba to be next U.S. target, says Trump. Syrian president to discuss war, migration, during Germany visit. First Houthi launch toward Israel since war began triggers alerts across the Negev. 500 U.S. sailors and Marines arrive in Middle East. U.S. President Donald Trump has suggested that Cuba could be a future target for American military action. Speaking at an investment forum in Miami, Trump said the United States has built a strong military and hinted it may be used. He briefly stated that Cuba could be next, before telling the audience to disregard the comment. The president did not provide further details about any potential plans involving Cuba. The remarks have raised questions about U.S. foreign policy as tensions remain high in multiple regions. Syria's President Ahmed al-Shara has arrived in Germany for high-level talks on regional tensions and post-war reconstruction. The visit marks his first trip to Germany since taking power after the removal of former leader Bashar al-Assad in 2024. Shara is scheduled to meet German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Discussions are expected to focus on the Middle East conflict, Syria's internal situation, rebuilding efforts, and the future of Syrian refugees in Germany. Berlin has hosted around 1 million Syrians since the peak of the refugee crisis in 2015 and 2016. German officials say improved conditions in Syria have opened the door for reconstruction and possible returns. However, the visit has drawn criticism from some groups, including activists concerned about human rights and refugee deportations. The talks come as Syria seeks closer ties with Western countries and support for rebuilding after years of conflict. Israel says a missile has been launched from Yemen toward its southern territory, marking a new escalation in the ongoing conflict. The Israeli military said air defense systems were activated as sirens sounded in Beersheba and nearby areas in the Negev. There were no immediate reports of casualties or damage. The Iran-backed Houthi movement later confirmed the attack, saying it was carried out in response to Israeli strikes in the region. The group warned that its operations could continue, raising concerns about a widening conflict. Analysts say the development could open a new front in the war, with potential risks to key global shipping routes such as the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. The incident follows recent Iranian missile attacks on Israel, which have already caused casualties. The situation highlights growing fears that the conflict could spread further across the Middle East. A U.S. amphibious assault ship carrying thousands of troops has arrived in the Middle East as tensions with Iran continue. U.S. Central Command said the USS Tripoli, with about 500 sailors and Marines on board, entered the region on March 27. The deployment adds to the growing U.S. military presence amid the ongoing conflict. Officials say the ship carries a Marine Expeditionary Unit, which is capable of conducting amphibious operations, evacuations, and rapid response missions. The move is seen as giving U.S. commanders greater flexibility on the ground and at sea. It comes as Washington signals that the military operation against Iran may be limited in duration. However, the arrival of additional forces suggests preparations for a range of possible scenarios as the conflict continues.